So, the UK, the US and Australia have written to Facebook asking them not to deploy end-to-end encryption on their messaging platforms. Now, what Facebook wanted to do was to combine WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger and Instagram messaging, so in a way that it is the messaging is end-to-end encrypted and it's a single platform for messaging. This is, to my mind, this is basically the expansion of WhatsApp. So how Facebook is going to do it is basically beyond us. We don't have the details about how they're going to do it, but they've announced that they plan to do this. Now, to understand what encryption means, you first have to understand how communication works on the internet, right? So, let's say you and I are standing in front of each other and we're talking to each other. That communication is only between us, and if no one else is listening in, then it's a private communication. When I'm messaging you on the internet, it is first going from my messaging app to and through your operating system, to your mobile phone, to your ISP, to then the other ISPs that they connect with, to then the undersea cables, and then all the same sequence begins for you, right? So each of these layers basically becomes a position of vulnerability that someone can snoop on that conversation. And encryption is like cryptography. It's like, in World War you heard about the Enigma machine, so that messages that were being relayed could not be intercepted by anyone else or could not be understood by anyone else. So encryption is the technology which allows us to ensure that if I send you a message using all of these points of vulnerabilities in the middle, none of them will know what message I have sent to you. In some instances, they may not even be able to find out that I have sent this message to you or you have sent this message to me. So, because at the interception, you don't know where it is originating from at some points in time. So, this is why encryption is important, because it allows the communication between you and me to remain private. And I understand that there's an argument that is made sometimes about, if you have nothing to hide, then why do you worry? But you have to remember that this is, we are living in democracies. This information, even if it is legal information, it can be used against others. Journalists like me communicate with our sources quite often. We need that communication to be private, even though that's not illegal. So it is about trust. If you feel that what I'm communicating to you is being read by everyone, will you then respond in the same manner? Will there be true communication, open communication between two people if someone else is always watching over them? So encryption is important to keep us secure, right? And the problem that's happening right now is that WhatsApp is already end-to-end encrypted. So without end-to-end encryption, WhatsApp will have to change its architecture, because end-to-end is the most secure form of communication, and in that even WhatsApp can't read your messages. What better than not allowing Facebook to read your messages, So WhatsApp will have to re-architect its platform so that no one, and then it will have to introduce some kind of vulnerability, so that if there's a legal order, they will be able to inform people about who sent what message when, etc., etc. Right? Now, the challenge with that kind of an approach, that in technology, you can't introduce a vulnerability and expect only one entity to be able to use it. So if there is some sort of vulnerability that gets introduced in the messaging system, some other people, some hackers, maybe international hackers, maybe other governments will be able to see that communication. And so then the entire platform will become non-secure. And what happens when a platform becomes non-secure? People move to something else, and then they move to something else. So initially BlackBerry was secure, then there was some sort of interception from what we heard that the government got. iPhone also happened, so people switched to the iPhone, and then they switched to Android. So wherever there is because people want privacy, wherever there is non-secure communication, people will eventually move out of it. The third point is that in this communication system, anyone can actually create a WhatsApp equivalent based on the same protocol that WhatsApp uses. I know some people can do it in a month, some people can do it maybe in a little longer. I know someone who's working on a similar system right now, and they've been working on it for about a couple of weeks. So and sometimes there's this open messaging platform which allow you to use your own encryption methodology. So if the government wants to do surveillance through this mechanism, the people who they want to surveil will find other means, or they will move to other platforms. Then they'll keep regulating from platform to platform to platform. this is not the way to do it, because you have a platform where someone might give you some information, some metadata, some amount of traceability that will also be not available to them. So all in all, I think we are heading towards a kind of a situation by October 22nd this year, when the WhatsApp traceability case is going to get heard, and on October 15th the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology has been asked to give the court information on what the process is going to be for them to bring traceability to the WhatsApp messaging system. So we'll know what will happen then, but all in all, I think the way the government is headed and what they are pushing for will lead to the invasion of privacy in India.